teacher go to school?
And here's your
What do you think of what's going on right now, mate?
These evil little invisible parasites.
Satan-worshipping Freemason moron.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
We're not run by factions.
Get the fuck out of camera!
There are much more powerful international forces in play.
Is this pink eye? Is this what pink eye is? I don't fucking know what's happening.
Please go outside and look at the moon quickly.
It's been crazy, guys, but guess what? It's how it is, mate.
Mate, because I want to do you slowly.
But I ain't spending any time on it.
Welcome to the Conditional Release Program, a podcast that delves into the netherworld of cults, crims, and con artists. I'm Jack the Insider, otherwise known as Peter Hoysted for tax purposes.
And I'm Joel Hill, and it has been a big week for the far right, the fringe, and the quite frankly fucked. We have a big march coming up where we are going to take Australia back from what I'm yet to understand. Yep. Something about brown people.
Maybe to the 1930s.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're going back there.
Big fascist movement in Australia in the 1930s, Joel.
Oh, good times. See,
20s,
that's
30s.
when, the good old days, as they call them. My God. Anyway, and the ABC has had another crack at the Cookiverse with a Four Corners investigation into scofflaw sovsits, though we aren't allowed to call them that. Can't call them sovsits. Well, we actually can, because that's freedom.
And we're gonna.
We're going to.
I do prefer the term scofflaw for our free men and women on the land. It's a self-explanatory term. It's an American colloquialism. Nothing wrong with that. But it is aimed at those who do not feel they are bound by our laws and break them routinely. But it's not as simple as that. You also need a fetching purple polo shirt.
Yes.
Bit expensive, $60 plus postage and handling, but it's made of the finest polyester and made in a nice part of China where they make the Australian flags and Bunnings stubby holders.
Oh, good. I don't want to be in the bad made in China. It's got to be the good part. With the nice factories where they have
a bit of fentanyl laced into it.
Yeah, it could be. I hope they have toilets and fire exits, but that's for them to deal with. And today we have some true crime in the show as Jack tells us of his dealings with a New South Wales politician, a member of Legalised Cannabis Party, no less, who has probably been smoking too many bongs, who wants to investigate Ivan Milat, believing he may have killed hundreds of people.
Yeah, he is saying that without much or any evidence. There are problems when politicians LARP as police officers. But also on today's show, we have Gaetzy. Gaetzy's back. Great friend of the podcast. Gaetzy and porn.
Oh, good.
Not Gaetzy and porn. Not Gaetzy.
Not Gaetzy in porn.
No.
No, that's a real shame because, he was cute. In two separate stories, it must be said, it is important to delineate the two because we know what your mind turns to when Gaetzy is brought up. My guess is that Gaetzy would be a fan of the barely legal sector.
Yeah, you could actually take the barely out and just make it illegal sector.
That's what I was about to say. But he's got some really shit ideas.
Yes, he has.
I did not know any of this before today. Fuck me. Anyway.
Don't you watch him on the One American Network, Joel? He's got a show every night. Monday to Friday.
I defaulted on my cable subscription. So, meanwhile, terrible kiddies who watch porn are making it more difficult for the rest of us to use the internet anonymously.
Cut it out, you fucking terrible kids.
Fucking kids.
Look, cookers are bound to be in uproar over this, and maybe they're right this time.
Maybe.
In other news, we have beer.
We do, but unfortunately, CB Cove jumped on the draconian bandwagon of censorship and have also started poking their noses into our birth dates. Since when did you have to be 18 to enjoy a beer?
Not in my lifetime.
I started drinking far earlier than that. But look, with the New World Order coming in full swing, it appears the kids can't even crack a nice cold tin after a long day of playing Roblox and screaming at each other on Xbox Live.
What's wrong? What's going wrong with the world?
Shame. Hell in a handbasket. This is why they're marching on the 31st, by the way. For everyone else with a credit card and good taste, head to cvco.beer and use the code CRP10 to get 10% off some delicious cans. But don't give them to kids because they don't fucking deserve it.
They don't deserve it.
They do not deserve it.
Very, very bad.
Pay rent.
And we wish to remind listeners to support the podcast in a way that sounds like legalised begging and soliciting. That's something that Gaetzy knows about, the latter rather than the former. We are on our knees here, people. Please drop us some cash, either in a brown paper bag, no questions asked, or by signing up to our Patreon.
Yes, please go to www.patreon.com/conditional release program. Realistically, just search for conditional release program and Patreon on Google. You'll click. Send us your hard-earned money. I'm a simple student, and my God, it's not simple. Jack is addicted to pornography, and he inexplicably pays for it, so we actually need the money. So every little bit does help.
Give me $20, Joel. I've just found the motherlode of Japanese pornography.
Ah, very good. Yes. Well, I will send it to you in yen.
Ooh. Yeah, that's going to hurt in the morning. And now, if I could just turn the volume down on my Japanese pornography and keep it on in the background, just so I can keep an eye on it, we must, in fact, get on with the show. It's mainly just moaning and people screaming and vomiting on each other, so it won't matter that I've got the volume down.
It's like you've been possessed by the spirit of Ron Watkins and Nick Fuentes, but that's okay. We're going to get on with it. All right, on with the show. Ivan Milat is Australia's most notorious serial killer. There has always been a view in law enforcement and media circles that he was responsible for a murderous spree beyond his outrages at Belanglo State Forest.
Jeremy Buckingham is a member of the New South Wales Legislative Council, the upper house. He represents the legalised cannabis party. He was formerly a member of the Greens. But years before his political career began, he lived in northern New South Wales. And after an acquaintance in the local area disappeared, this is what he explained to me, Buckingham discovered a long list of young men and women who had disappeared from the region in the 70s, 60s, 70s and 80s.
That's not good. So the motion was endorsed by the Chamber, but the documents sought were, for the most part, not supplied. Instead, Buckingham received a letter from Governor Margaret Beazley informing him that the Executive Council, the New South Wales Premier, and 3 other cabinet ministers had declined the request to make Milat's criminal records available. Buckingham was required to complete a non-disclosure agreement in order to receive Milat's corrective services records and employment records. Buckingham told the Australian that what he received was, quote, confused and incomplete and contains glaring omissions. In the past year, Buckingham has been on a mission to obtain Ivan Milat's official records. His long rap sheet, his stretches in various prisons, and his work records where the serial killer was employed by the Department of Major Roads and the Sydney Water Board. On 19th of March 2025, Buckingham proposed a motion in the New South Wales Upper House requesting the Governor table, quote, all documents relating to Ivan Robert Marco Milat, including all documents relating to criminal charges against Ivan Robert Marco Milat in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and all prison records from the 1960s until the time of his death.
There you go. Now, the motion was endorsed by the Chamber. In fact, John Ruddock made a brief speech about it as well. He'd been in conversation with Jeremy Buckingham, and he was surprised to hear some of Buckingham's theories. But the motion was endorsed basically in a bipartisan fashion in the Chamber. But the documents sought were, for the most part, not supplied. Instead, Buckingham received a letter from Governor Margaret Beazley informing him that the Executive Council, that's the New South Wales Premier and 3 other cabinet ministers, along with the Governor, they make decisions on that will provide advice to the Governor. And the Executive Council has declined the request to make Milat's criminal records available. Buckingham was required to complete a non-disclosure agreement in order to receive Milat's corrective services records and employment records. Buckingham told me that what he received was confused and incomplete, quote unquote, and contains glaring omissions.
So Buckingham has also asked questions on notice in the New South Wales Legislative Council regarding Milat's DNA and whether it has been used to determine his involvement in a number of cold case murders. He received a non-answering reply. Buckingham believes he is being stonewalled and can't understand why.
Milat was found guilty of 7 murders in 1996, known colloquially as the Backpacker Murders at Belanglo State Forest in the New South Wales Southern Highlands. The victims were Deborah Everest and James Gibson, both 19, who had last been seen near Albury on 30 December 1989. They'd been at a music show not far from Albury. Simone Schmidl, 21, from Germany, had gone missing since leaving Sydney for Melbourne on the 20th of January 1991. The German couple, Gabor Niegebauer, and 21, and Anja Hubschied, 20, were last seen in King's Cross on the 26th of December 1991. The British women Carolyn Clark, 21, and Joanne Walters, 22, were last seen in King's Cross on 18th of April 1992. On those dates alone, Milat had murdered his 7 victims in the space of 3 years. The question is, what had the serial killer been up to beforehand? Now, Milat was a person of interest in the unsolved disappearances and suspected murders of Robin Hickey, aged 18, Amanda Robinson, 14, Leanne Goodall, 20, and Gordana Kotevsky, 16, in and around the Newcastle area. I must clarify that. Gordana Kotevsky disappeared in 1994 after Milat's arrest, so he can't be a suspect in that one. Robin Hickey left her home around 7 to 7:15 p.m. on Saturday, the 7th of April 1979, was last seen standing at a bus stop on the Pacific Highway at Belmont North. A fortnight later, Amanda Robinson, aged 14, was last seen walking along Lake Road, Swansea. And this is all in the sort of greater Newcastle area, on Saturday, 21st of April 1979, after attending a dance at her high school in Gateshead. Leanne Goodall was last seen on 30 December 1978 when her brother dropped her off at Muswellbrook railway station. Please go on, Joe.
In 2002, a coronial inquest found that Robin Hickey, Amanda Robinson, and Leanne Goodall had been abducted and murdered by a person or persons unknown. Milat gave evidence at the inquest but shed no light on what had happened to these three victims. In his report, the New South Wales coroner John Abernathy was highly critical of police in the initial stages of the three investigations. Of the Goodall investigation, he determined the delay from police in undertaking any formal criminal investigations was a failing of extreme magnitude.
Quote unquote, and that was the case with the other two, but particularly marked in the Goodall investigation, which took them weeks to get serious about. And both Robin Hickey and Amanda Robinson. This is one of the difficulties we have with missing persons. They often, I think, police assume, particularly police in regional areas, sometimes would say, "Well, they'll turn up again, just kids being kids, all that sort of stuff." And that's quite often not the case.
Yeah.
Anyway, there are many other murders for which Milat is considered a suspect. There's one that I can think of in the Oberon area of a young male. The question is the Parliament and Mr. Buckingham in particular the best people to handle what is a necessary inquiry? And Buckingham got in touch with me about this story in June. At the time, he showed me an identikit image of a suspect in the Wanda Beach murders which occurred on January 11, 1965. He also attached a photo of Ivan Milat taken around the same time. Milat would have been 20 years of age when Marianne Schmidt and Christine Sharrock were murdered at Wanda Beach near Cronulla. No one has been charged over the murders of the two girls to this day. Now, there was a similarity between the two images. When I first got it, I actually sent it off to my editor and said, have a look at that. But it must be said, these were very early days in identikit imaging, and it could have been almost any male with dark hair.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
And I plan to write an article on Buckingham's inquiries around Milat and did so on the 15th of August. I spoke with him on the day before the article was published, and by that time I had done my research. Always got to do your own research, folks. Milat had been jailed for 18 months and served 11 months in 1964 for break, enter and steal. He served his sentence at Emu Plains Correctional Centre, at the time a minimum security working prison in Rough Bush in the foothills of the Blue Mountains. He was released on 18 June 1965, 6 months after the Wanda Beach murders. I reminded Buckingham of this in that conversation, and Buckingham's reply was words to the effect of, it was a minimum security jail. He could have escaped. Broke out, I said, committed 2 murders and then broke back in before muster. I told Buckingham I would not be writing about the Wanda Beach murders because, quite obviously, Milat could not be regarded as a suspect in these matters. Now, a few days ago, and we're recording this on the 22nd of August 2025, and this would have been on the 20th of August, in an Estimates Committee hearing in the New South Wales Parliament, Buckingham showed Premier Chris Minns the same identikit image of the Wanda Beach suspect and the photo of Milat in his early 20s. Minns was unaware of the background, just as I had been, and Buckingham made no mention of Milat's jail term at Emu Plains. So it was a stunt. I'd actually spoken to him about it a week before saying, couldn't have done it.
He knew better.
And he sort of almost was resigned to that fact. By the way, one of the things Mr. Buckingham had received from the government after that motion was put was a incomplete list of Milat's contact with corrective services. which included the Emu Plains stretch.
Yeah, okay.
11 months. So he knew this.
Well, you can miss these factors, but
he kept showing this.
Yeah,
he kept showing this these identical images around.
It out.
So it's a bit of grandstanding here, a bit of a stunt going on, and as a result, I became quite sceptical of him, of the politician, at that point. And look, I will be writing about this for the Australian in the near future. I don't want to say too much, but there's a fair bit of growing evidence that I'll be putting to Mr. Buckingham next week. And the member of the Legislative Council has raised some important questions, it's true, as to why Milat's records are incomplete and why his criminal record remains out of the public gaze. Now, it should not be. I think Milat's criminal record should be a matter of public record.
Mm-hmm.
But just to go on just a little bit on the corrective services record, the omission is Milat being in Long Bay in 1974. People who know the Milat case well will know that in 1971 he abducted 2 women, raped one of them, and both of these women fled at a service station. Milat was arrested and charged with abduction and rape. And then he fled. We believe he's gone to Queensland, and so there are issues around there, and then to Victoria before fleeing to New Zealand, where he stayed for a couple of years. And he came back to the country in 1974 when his mother was ill and was rearrested at that time. Now, he was, as I say, remanded in custody in Long Bay, and Jeremy Buckingham tells me, I haven't seen the corrective services record, by the way. I haven't signed the NDA. I'm not privy to it. But what we do know is that Milat was ultimately acquitted of that crime or crimes on those 2 young women, and that's a story in itself. And then obviously was released. Now, do the corrective, this is something I need to figure out, I need to ask about, but do the corrective services records include periods of being remanded in custody, that is prior to being convicted and sentenced, or is it just convictions and sentences only?
Yeah, okay.
I ran that past a couple of people over the last couple of days, and we're not quite sure, so we need to get an official answer. Otherwise, the corrective services records, as I understand it, are pretty much complete.
Yeah, and pretty conclusive.
Anywho, I am sceptical of Buckingham's claims that Milat may have killed hundreds. He said that. May have killed hundreds. And
that's a lot.
Or that his lawyer, John Marsden, was his lover.
Yeah.
Without getting into that whole, opening up that can of worms right at the moment, folks. Marsden was a powerful figure in political and legal circles who faced a flurry of allegations of pedophilia prior to and immediately after his death in 2006.
Yeah, okay.
Now, there is more to this story, and we'll keep you updated. I believe there is a need for further inquiries. There most definitely is. There should be a judicial inquiry into all of Milat's activities. The coronial inquest that we mentioned before of the 3 missing girls around the Newcastle area, we know that the major or the roads board and Sydney Water, it was called the Water Board back then.
Yes, yeah.
Did not have employment records. But you have to understand, why would they keep employment records longer than 7 years?
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of contracting going on too for major roadworks and all that sort of stuff, which would mean that he wouldn't appear there anyway. So that's probably a bit of a cul-de-sac, investigative cul-de-sac. But there's plenty to investigate here, because we do have a long list of missing persons, young males and females, many of them still missing, and obviously their families would demand or would like to have an answer as to where they ended up. So judicial inquiry, sure. Parliamentary inquiry, no. And certainly I don't think Jeremy Buckingham should have any role in any inquiry, whatever form it might take.
Yeah, that is quite fair. It sounds like this is the kind of thing that could really fuck with people's heads.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things I got really upset about, and the Ghost Train documentary on the ABC, there are a lot of heavier hitters than me who took exception to the fact that on very skinny evidence they pointed the finger at Neville Wran and Abe Saffron. for me, the worst element of that story was that it created false hope for all those people who were mourning the deaths of their loved ones.
Yeah.
In all but one case, children. And this is offering something a little bit similar here. Need to be very, very careful. There's a reason why police investigations are conducted largely in secrecy.
Yeah.
Because there is no real public interest element here until we have some real answers. And in any event, Ivan Milat is dead.
Yeah.
And we might seek to establish his involvement or otherwise on a list of missing persons cases. But those inquiries need to be conducted either by cold case police detectives, and these guys are police on cold case. It's really finite resources, right? Manpower resources, and so we need to be very, very careful about not sending people up on some blind alley.
Yep.
Sending cold case police detectives on a blind alley. And we also have to be very, very careful that we don't create the cruelty. It is a cruelty of false hope among the families and friends of victims of the disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. All right. Well, moving on, we have a situation here where age verification is coming to Australia's internet users, but our new net nanny systems will affect everyone and not just teenagers.
Damn,
that's
right.
right.
If it was just teenagers, I'd be all for it.
Fuck them. I'll throw those guys in the ditch, but it's us too. Very sad. How will I gamble on the outcome of pornography without having to give them my digital ID? In June, the federal government introduced rules forcing the big tech companies like Google to check the ages of logged-in users in an effort to limit children's access to harmful content such as pornography, which is everywhere, of course. These rules become law by year's end, and Google searches undertaken by minors will have to exclude references to sexually explicit and violent material.
Yeah, people who stream their television may have already experienced age verification interactions. In July, I was attempting to stream a show on Disney+. Don't know what it was now. But there I was. And I got all these prompts requiring an email address, asking me damned impertinent questions about my gender and my age, of course. Now, other streamers are doing the same or soon will. I just remember being pissed off at the impertinence of it.
Well, they should know how old you are considering the fact that you're paying for it with a credit card. But at the same time, if you want to look at, Mickey Mouse porn, I mean, you kind of need to show your age, right?
Well, the account holder, so there'll be an account holder, and I pay for a lot of streaming around here, but my daughter pays for some, and then my other daughter pays for another one. So in the Disney thing, I think I am just a user, I'm just an add-on, just a user. So that's why I got this prompt, and
that makes sense,
and had to provide them with answer all their damned impertinent questions.
Yeah, I have not suffered the same interrogation from Mickey, but I'm happy with that. So Australians have been given a foretaste of the future. In the UK, the Online Safety Act obliged sites which show sexually explicit or violent material to ensure minors are excluded and introduced age verification checks last month.
So it's already in the UK. And then a data analytics firm in the UK studied online access to pornography. They reported a 47% decline in traffic to the UK's most popular pornography site, Pornhub. A similar slump in viewers at another pornography site, Xvideos, with the subscription service Only Fans down 10%. And that was just in a 9-day period in the first weeks of August, compared to a period in the previous month prior to the implementation of age checks. So, good news?
Great.
Probably not. I mean, this is the sort of outcome that policymakers would hail as proof of the stunning success of their interventions. But it is a long way from reducing social harms. In fact, all the Online Safety Act may have done in the UK is push traffic to less regulated sites. The same data revealed that traffic had increased in sites that refused to play ball with the legislators. It almost goes without saying that these sites are likely to contain prohibited content, including sexually violent material, incest and bestiality, etc., etc.
Yeah, the stuff that Matt Gaetz looks up. Sorry, what? Anyway, a day after the new rules came into force in the UK, 2 ethical hackers appeared on Britain's Sky News and bypassed age verification checks within a few minutes. Multiple viewers contacted the network to confirm the ease in which they were able to get around the age verification checks, probably asking how they did it. And with one boasting he had done so in under 30 seconds, which I'm guessing is just something as simple as a
Well done,
VPN.
that young man. Well done.
Wow, it doesn't sound like it was rocket science at the same time. Lots of callers being like, look, my missus is not huge on me looking at porn, but I love the idea. Can you just let me know what's going on here?
I've just used my wife's wedding photo. And, she's come up trumps.
Yeah, it worked a charm.
The UK's media regulator, Ofcom, I guess it is, has
Ofcom, I think they say.
Yeah, I think they call it Ofcom, don't they?
Yeah.
Has recommended content providers choose one of 7 age verification checks. All this is coming to Australia. The first is called facial age recognition, where a face is shown by photo or video and technology determines the age.
Weird.
It is weird, isn't it? I mean, what's the difference between a 17-year-old face and an 18-year-old face?
Glued on pubes around the mouth area.
But there's no difference. There's
So
no real
dumb.
difference. Anyway, other methods, perhaps less fallible but far more intrusive. These include banking or telco account checks, sharing of digital ID, and email-based age estimation, where an email address is offered to the provider who uses technology to ascertain the age of the person by examining the duration of other accounts like electricity and gas bills.
So if you've got a Hotmail account, you're definitely over 18 because no one under 18 has one. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, it's like, you've got your PD Pants 69. You're like, oh, man, okay, I'm not so sure. You're like, at Hotmail? Yeah, you're old. You just shouldn't have kept that. That's on you, bro. But you can watch porn. That's fine.
Reminds me of where Steve Carell's character got into a chat room that he was, looking for a relationship with a woman.
Yeah.
He goes, little kid lover.
Yeah,
What's the name he
that's
used?
right.
Because he thought the woman would be attracted to, the idea of bringing up a
So
family.
he likes children.
Little kid lover.
It's not perfect.
It's not perfect.
So obviously all these methods are being trialled in Australia, as we just said, but this is just leading to the fact that pornography-addicted teenagers are, like I say, just desperately going to start trying to grow beards, maybe cutting off bristles from brooms and taping them to their faces. Who knows what they're going to get up to. Surely they can get past it.
Yeah, but it's not just teenagers. I mean, all of us are going to have to go through these age verification checks.
Yes, but I can grow a fucking beard. So
And we're not just talking about porn sites. We're talking about Google. We're talking about Bing. We're talking about every major search engine.
So that's good.
And look, that data, that age verification data, in one form or another, has to be stored somewhere.
Well, it shouldn't be, but it will be. Yeah. Yeah, that's very frustrating. So, look, when it comes down to it, the data from these age verification, like I say, they're going to be stored one way or another. And in the UK, the regulators have been quick to point out that users' activities on porn sites will not be stored. So that's nice. One small blessing, when you have a quick one off the wrist, your face won't be fucking captured in a database. But they do say the data, which may include digital ID and images taken from passports or driver's licenses, nothing much, will be encrypted. But the best means of preventing hacking into databases is, of course, to not have one.
Not have
Don't
a database.
keep my shit.
There's
Delete it after
your
it's
answer to
used.
hacking. Yeah.
Real simple. So cookers will be in uproar, and no doubt some will put this sort of end of the world spin shit as blah, blah, big brother, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, Malcolm Roberts and George Christensen are worried that age verification is a backdoor to mass surveillance. And I just think the idea of them saying backdoor makes me laugh. No connotation there whatsoever.
I wonder where that concept came up for Malcolm and George. Who was
Minister for Manila.
was looking through a bit of porn, looking at a bit of backdoor porn, and come up with the idea this could be a backdoor to mass surveillance.
And of course, they're nothing like their other compatriots who are more into the incest foot porn, which we are all accustomed to.
No, who got nailed for the incest foot porn?
That was Crackers. That was Craig Kelly. And then he changed his fucking Twitter handle to Craig Kelly XXX because he stopped being in. It was Craig Kelly Fon, and then he changed it to XXX. You're like, bro, you just retweeted foot porn.
He's not smart.
And then and he left it up there so long because he was so terrified of unretweeting. When you just click the button and it just stops happening.
Allegedly.
He was hacked. He was hacked by all those Russians he's awfully kind to. Anyway.
So we know cookers are going to go absolutely apeshit on this stuff.
Of course.
But Australians,
it's backdoor.
will not relish these intrusions.
No.
And the murmurs now of privacy concerns are likely to become a roar. Rah! By December, when age verification becomes law.
And people
December
start feeling
27, that's your day.
What?
In an attempt to diminish...
Who's working then?
Well, that's why they think they slipped it in there. Don't forget, if Google or Bing or Google and Microsoft get this wrong, they're facing $50 million fines.
What happens if there's a fucking streaker on the Boxing Day test? That's a $50 million fine.
Yeah.
I'm not getting
Someone's
age check for that.
Someone's going to, but it won't be them.
No.
Look, so in an attempt to diminish the impact of social harms from kids watching pornography, I mean, this is what this is about. But everyone's going to be engaged now. The Australian government has determined that everyone has to engage in the exercise. Anyone who uses a Google search engine, and that is 90% of Australians, Australia's internet users, or Microsoft Bing searches, which is pretty much the remaining 10%,
Maybe.
will be obliged to verify their age by whatever means the telcos determine.
I'm guessing DuckDuckGo will be out of this, but I'll be very interested to see if that plays out.
I can't imagine them signing up for this.
No, there's not really their MO. Google and Microsoft have been told that from December 27, they will have to use some form of age assurance technology on users when they sign in, as you said, or face fines of up to $50 million. But the thing is that it may well be that these telco giants already hold sufficient data on their users to determine their age and make the shift seamlessly for most users. They got my fucking credit card details. But given the sheer size of the fines, they are going to be keen to make sure, because that is a big deal.
It's a bad day, even for a company the size of Google. $50 million fine. I mean, that's the high end of it. But yeah, they're going to they might have a little bit of overreach just to ensure that they don't get prosecuted.
They're not going to fuck around. So it's important to remember that these new rules are distinct from the social media restrictions for those under the age of 16. They are separate. With other dumb technologies that probably won't work. While those laws are similarly sidestepped by tech-savvy kids, sure they're actively at work on that. There is almost universal, or bipartisan support for them. There is a universal sense of support out there for it.
It's staggering, Joel. The polling and sort of anecdotal stuff sort of indicates that of adults, we're about sort of 70 to 80%.
Yeah, wow.
Of people support this. So the government is on a winner.
It did win at a referendum.
With the social, with the social media stuff. But I suspect that we're going to get a little bit more alarmed when the age verification stuff kicks in around simple search engines.
When Crackers is cracking a wood, and all of a sudden the thing between him and a fictitious sister and a
leave
foot.
Crackers out of it. You're making our listeners feel ill, feel deeply nauseous.
Well, I'm trying to stop them from having to go through the age verification system. And what better thing than to bring up Crackers?
Look, the social media stuff, and I actually don't agree. I'm one of the sort of 10 or 20% who don't actually support it.
I don't really agree with it either, for about 1,000 reasons.
Not just because I think the restrictions are ineffective, but as they stand, the rules are sort of an abrogation of parental responsibility. That's why I don't agree with them. Parents have decided not to have valuable interactions with their children, and often quite difficult. And passing the exercise on to the government. You do that, we'll get some food. We'll order some food in.
Yeah.
And look, I know too that we've talked about this on the conditional release program. The great harms that come from the internet. We've talked about child exploitation networks like 764 operating on platforms as banal as Roblox, targeting children and shifting to anonymous platforms like Discourse, where nihilistic, violent extremists, often children themselves, have been found to extort and exploit other children, including urging them to commit acts of self-harm and suicide.
Exactly. So, look, as we know, the online world is a dark place for many, and it can get really fucking bad. But what we know about prohibition is the banning of or overregulation by government just tends to lead to a dark underbelly, easily accessible dark underbelly, mind you, where these kind of appalling practices continue largely out of reach of regulators and law enforcement and go completely unabated. I mean, look, things are pretty dark on the internet, but just wait till you see the shit that you can't see.
Wait till you put a level of prohibition in there.
It's not good. So it just like good drugs become bad once you make them illegal, right? So in the not so distant past, governments would have turned to public interest campaigns, advertising, messaging to prevent social harms, and these sort of things do have an impact, even though they seem kind of lame on the surface.
They do. They might seem lame, but it's just an opportunity to have a discussion with people. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah, and discussions, they do help. And there's formative aspects of this and blah, blah, blah. And it's great for voiceover artists who never get any work anymore. But look, now it's just this sort of all-in exercise, this legislative sledgehammer, which is just trying to smash a rotten egg, which means rotten egg goes everywhere, and the dog gets to eat it, and the dog's farting smelly for days,
And the
and
dog
it's no
vomits.
good.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's no
Does a
good.
big runny poo on the carpet.
That metaphor worked out way better than I
It's a
expected.
beautiful metaphor that we
It's good.
probably should leave right there.
You should smash a rotten egg, and you should think about Craig Kelly having a wank.
No. All right. Friend of the podcast and alleged pedophile, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Matt Gaetz has been making some noise recently.
Oh,
Now,
good.
listeners will know the former Florida congressman as a man of the law,
Yes.
kind of.
Sort
A couple of things he's not quite
He
across.
was almost.
Indeed, he was Sir Trump's first choice for Attorney General, but stood down when those pesky rumours of him trafficking minors for prostitution across straight lines rose their ugly heads again.
I don't think there's an issue with like trafficking minors across state lines. If you're going to just have, it's just prostitution. I don't care which state you do it in. It's just prostitution. It's fine.
No, it becomes federal. That becomes federal offence then.
Yeah, it's legalese.
No. It becomes a federal offence with mighty penalties rather than just your work-a-day trafficking prostitutes within state boundaries.
I will make sure you traffic prostitutes within states. Otherwise, you're in big trouble.
Well, Gaetzy sort of slipped out of it, but I gather the fact that he didn't take up the Attorney General's position, he thought, well, this might play into the Epstein files, which we are going to release. Oh, maybe not.
Maybe not.
And there's quite a lot of allegations of trafficking minors for prostitution across straight lines in those files.
If only he'd kept his kids near home. So he's been a busy boy all the same.
Yes, he has.
He was a congressman for Florida's 4th District and a member of House committees various, very prestigious, including the Armed Services and the Judiciary.
Wow.
Poof. But now he hosts the eponymous Gaetzy show on One American News Network weeknights. Check your local program, guys, listeners. Pay for your pay TV. It is so worth it.
And look, it's on this program where his brilliance has come to the fore. Last week, Gaetzy entered the complex world of geopolitics and foreign policy and discovered it's just a doddle for a man of his skills. That nasty war in the Ukraine would be over in a trice, according to Gaetzy. Putin's Russia would roll over in the wake of it. Peace in our time.
Oh, blessed be. It's all incredibly simple, according to Gaetzy, of course. Forget centuries-old Russian adventurism, because they do love a walk and they always take a gun. Forget the territory grabbing of the Soviet Union, because they did like a little grabbing by the land. And forget that Putin is a mass-murdering autocrat fuckhead who has shat upon every written agreement he's ever signed or even looked at, including the one that guaranteed the sovereignty of Ukraine once they handed the nukes back to the Soviets in the bad old days, which I'm sure they fucking regret. And forget, too, that Russia invaded a sovereign nation that then launched attacks on its citizens in a spate of war crimes.
Yeah, forgetting things is what Gaetzy is really good at, to be fair.
Yeah.
But he has
Girls'
also had
names.
flashes of brilliance. War will end in Ukraine.
Okay.
Putin's Russia will become a docile place full of love for one's fellow man
Oh, that's
with
nice.
a wave of Gaetzy's hand.
Give that man a Nobel Peace Prize. Well, once they kick the North Koreans out, who have been addicted to Pornhub because there's no age verification, and are wallowing in puddles of their own seminal fluid, very similar to crackers in the legislative offices anyway, they might have had a bit too much love, quite
Bit
frankly.
too much love.
Self-love,
Bit too much
I
love.
believe they call it these days in the alt health space.
So what is Gaetzy on about? Are you ready, listeners? Are you ready to sit back in mouth agape awe at the brilliance of our man Gaetzy?
Paracelsus, this is so fucking dumb. The stroke of genius that Gaetzy's come up with is Russia joining NATO. Just fuck
Now,
you.
we'll give you a moment to reflect on the gigantic brain housed in the Brill cream coiffure of Gaetzy before moving on.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's
Mhm.
let's invite
That's all you
Russia
need.
to join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the very body created in 1949 to ward off Russian-Soviet aggression.
Mm-hmm.
A treaty with a stark reference to collective defense known as Article 5, which tells signatory nations an attack against one is considered as an attack against all.
So what could possibly go wrong here? I mean,
Nothing.
I'm sure that all the new members, that is, non-founding members of NATO, including Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Hungary, the Czech Republic, Romania, and Bulgaria would all put the unpleasantness of Soviet rule behind them, and all those people like Putin oppressed and killed, to just embrace their former foes as friends.
Yeah.
We'll come to your aid, don't you
great
worry.
big loving. Not to mention Finland, whose citizens who often peer across the Gulf of Finland in the Baltic Sea to find a Russian nuclear submarine surfacing.
That's comforting.
It's gonna make you lose a little bit of sleep. Nothing,
And they didn't get much
but
sleep.
Of course, the Finns fought a war against the Soviets in 1939 and kicked the absolute shit out of them in what's known as the Winter War.
It's pretty embarrassing considering the size comparisons, but anyway. And of course the Poles, who quite rightly have long memories about Soviet aggression stretching back 70 years, and they're still pissed off.
The Poles really, really
They
hate
hold
Russians.
a fucking grudge, and their army's
hate
big.
Russians.
Yeah.
Like all the signatory nations would happily put all of that in the past if Gaetzy had his way. Putin would be pissing in the tent, looking out, rather than raining munitions down on citizens of countries Vlad the Impaler doesn't like. He should be called Vlad the Impaler. We should be calling him, I don't want to get confused with sort of, 14th century Romanian history, but, time has come to start calling Putin Vlad the Impaler, I think.
I like Vlad the incest foot porn aficionado person.
Vlad the defenestrator.
That is what it really is, isn't it?
That's him. Vlad the defenestrator. Sorry.
Gaetzy also argued that he was not the first public official to argue for Russia's entry into NATO. Cool. And produced some grainy footage of then US Ambassador to the UN, Madeleine Albright, suggesting that Russia could be invited to join shortly after the collapse of the Soviet Union, which might have made sense at the time because Russia was a fucking economic basket case whose leader at the time, Mikhail Gorbachev, looks like a cuddly teddy bear compared to Vladimir Putin and was a pretty fun drunk. So, that was Yeltsin, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yes, Boris Yeltsin after Mikhail.
He was the pisshead. So,
man, he was hilarious. Clinton used to piss himself laughing just being in his company. But that was it. Russia was an absolute basket case that actually needed a bit of assistance. But then when Yeltsin took over, Yeltsin just basically started selling state assets to oligarchs or to create oligarchs.
Wasn't great.
That's when it went a bit tits up.
That's when you're too much of a fun drunk.
Look, all I'm saying is imagine Russia in NATO knocking on the door of Germany or France saying, can you spare us a nuke or two? Ours have got green shit oozing out of them.
Oh, no. We sold them all to random terrorist groups. We don't really have any left. Sorry.
Yeah. Look, give Gaetzy a Nobel Peace Prize. Make him battle against Donald Trump for Nobel Peace Prize. And the winner is, instead nominated are Donald Trump, Gaetzy, and the winner is Gaetzy.
Yeah.
Nobel Peace Prize laureate. You fucking idiot, Gaetzy.
No, thanks.
Cows have fucking masks on.
Everybody is up for the high jump if they deserve it. If they deserve to hang, they will hang.
Rise up, Australia. Men of Australia, time to step up and be real men. Protect your kids or go down biggest cowards this country has ever seen. Hang them animals.
All right, Jack, I want to be clear here, mate. I'm not racist, all right?
No.
I just don't like mass migration,
Yeah.
All those migrants that are taking the jobs that we don't want and living like sardines in houses that we don't want to live in and doing all that ethnic shit that I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know what I really fucking hate about them? Those fucking flags.
Yeah.
All of them have some kind of fruity flag that isn't Australian.
No. There's only one Australian flag and the other one.
I've had a gutful. I've had a gutful of this, Jack. Okay. Maybe that's a bit racist, but my new mate Tom Sewell actually says that's a good thing.
Yeah. All right, Joel. Just
Fully
calm
endorsed.
down a little bit. Yes, the Cook at a Nazi pipeline, which everyone saw coming, is having a little picnic in the park coming up and maybe a bit of a walk to another park for another picnic.
Ooh.
The whole thing has turned out to be a bit of a mess, which is a huge surprise for a rally against multiculturalism organised by cookers and Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to suspend our disbelief for a moment and just accept that this is a big racist clusterfuck.
No, they said it's not. They said.
I know. I've been listening.
They said. So it's pretty bad. According to organizer Beck Freedom, partner of the Meerkat on Methamphetamine, J.C. Stewart, this was actually started by a random TikTok account from a uni student who saw it spiral out of control.
Uh-oh.
And it has spiraled out of control, so that's fair. And he quite rightly handballed it across the pitch off to her or others. We don't really know. And in doing so, it's left a vacuum that's been filled by kind of every opportunist right-wing fuckbag who just wants to make this all about them.
And let's face it, as the tinfoil sales girls have pointed out, August 31st is and will always be Karen Brewer Day. Imagine if all these half-wit nationalists, ultra-nationalists, decided to just stare blankly at a building at the rally in silence, just like the Anzacs did.
Just
or
like
something.
It's
the government would topple for sure.
Oh, it'd be over. It'd be over in fucking, like, what, 5 minutes, did you say it was? 5
Just
minutes?
that silence. And
That
Karen
silence.
Brewer's piercing gaze will bring governments to their knees.
It's like Medusa, except instead of, like, you know, the whole snake's head and the turning to stone thing, it's like turning stone buildings into rubble, or possibly snakes. I don't really know. Anyway, it's said that this protest spawned as a response to the March for Palestine over the Harbour Bridge. For the most part, it seems they just pissed off that lefties got to march on the fancy bridge, and they didn't. Aw. But why do they get to have all the fun?
Yeah.
And hilariously, they didn't suddenly think that it was terrible for people in Australia to give How can I fuck up my own line? And hilariously, they suddenly think it's terrible for people in Australia to give a fuck about world affairs. Like, that's something new. They're, like, pissed off about that. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza has reached an extraordinary point. I'm down with the genocide term. It is. It's fucked. And
ticks a lot of boxes, put it that way.
Yeah. And the ethnic cleansing part too. That's cool. But the Save the Children types are angry that people are protesting the starvation and death of children.
Other kids.
All brown kids, so fuck them.
Mhm.
Anyway, so that's some pretty wild shit. It's hard to imagine people are so stupid as to think that protests should only be ever about domestic issues. What about the Iraq war protests, bro? Like, anyway. But we are dealing with some pretty special folks here who are a little bit new to politics. They're new. They've just discovered the concept over the pandemic.
It's fresh. Yeah.
Hold on. This has an impact on me? What? Idiots. I'm sure the rabbit hole goes far deeper than this, and I don't really know. I've been too busy doing law assignments. But the first hit that I get on Telegram is a post with a shitty clip promoting a March for Australia at 12 p.m. in every city on the 31st of August. And it has a Twitter link that goes to Anthony Scalise's Twitter page. I don't know who he is. I probably should. And he has 135,000 followers on X. I don't know how many of them he's paid for. And one of his recent posts, a screenshot of Joel Davis captioned, "Joel is once again on the money," has 605 likes.
Shall we quickly explain who Joel Davis is, John?
Well, look, I'm just going to say that you can infer from this that this won't be the last time a Nazi is mentioned here.
Okay.
But
so Joel is a Nazi. Joel
Yes.
Davis is a Nazi.
But just remember that these are the same fucking bozos that are moaning about being unfairly linked to the NSN.
Yeah.
Mate, like, if you're promoting Joel Davis, then maybe you doth protest too much, you know?
He's probably in the top 3 of Nazis in Australia, I would think, wouldn't he?
The Tom Sewell, Blair Cottrell, and
Yep.
then you got like
Joel Davis.
that Stefan guy and stuff. Like, there's a few in that sort of like third place tied type thing. But yeah, he's up there. He's making an effort. God, his beard sucks. Just shave, bro. I guess you look like shit shaved
He doesn't
too.
look good.
He just he
Master
looks like
race. Give me a fucking break, son.
he looks like a fucking 14-year-old who's glued his parents' broom to his face trying to look at porn.
He's shaved off his pubes and he's stuck them on his face.
Yeah, it's embarrassing as fuck. This is a recent post too. This isn't like before the March for Australia was announced. This was like 2 days ago. This fuckhead is retweeting fucking Joel Davis. Anyway, we're not Nazis. Shut the fuck up. And another post has been circulating with another clip with dramatic nonsense that's clearly done by AI with the caption,
31 August in major cities. Australia will rise against tyranny. With 3 exclamation marks. Are you in? We need you by the millions. Enough is enough. No foreign flags. Be peaceful, not passive. More details of meeting places coming.
Yeah,
1
okay.
exclamation mark.
Nothing about that is reassuring. And so like the Facebook page for the so-called organisers March of Australia have 13,000 followers on Facebook and only 2,147 on X, which I found quite interesting. It's the boomers are still on Facebook. And on a since deleted Facebook post, which they've still reposted everywhere, but the link is broken, the organisers, who generally remain anonymous, posted this.
Recent claims have been made by various groups attempting to take ownership of March for Australia or attach their own agendas to it. Should be agendum. But anyway, we wish to make it clear, the organisers are not members of nor acting on behalf of any other group. A lot of commas in there, badly placed. In particular, recent claims by Thomas Sewell of White Australia are not reflective of the organisers nor the politics of March for Australia. We are not associated with their organisation. Additional claims that we are associated with Israeli, Jewish or Palestinian movements or organisations are also unfounded and untrue.
And unjust. Sorry. So, of course, it's pretty hard to maintain that sentiment when they've proudly announced that Matt Treahy, the National Workers Alliance guy from Melbourne, he's running the Melbourne event. You may remember him if you don't know who he is from that event where they had Damon Richardson. He went full mask off. I don't think this is the one where he did the salute. Maybe it was. I don't really remember.
Okay. I remember that
Nazis
event.
like Blair Cottrell, I think Tom Schull might have been there as well, went in there, cheered on the proceedings, freely attended, no problems. It's a little bit hard to distance yourself from Nazis and then fully endorse Matt Treahy to be
when you're in the
an
company
organizer.
of Nazis.
I mean, look, if there's 10 Nazis, 10 people and one Nazi, it's 11 Nazis, right? Like, fucking whatever. So, look, it's all just a bit of a mess. There's a lot of theories floating around as to what is really going on here, because the idea that a bunch of bogans want to recreate canola is just too boring for them. The idea that NSN have tricked idiots into organising a recruitment drive, that's got bad optics. And then there's nothing more satisfying than a conspiracy theory.
Oh, yeah.
So most of the cook takes on this seem to circle back to you-know-who. The Aussie Cossack has this hot take attached to a Telegram poll.
Is the 31st of August an undercover Zionist march seeking to counter rising pro-Palestinian sentiment in Australia's streets? Question mark.
That's a push poll, and 68% voted yes. But that's a fucking push poll. I mean, anyway, it's not a very neutral question.
How many votes?
696.
Yeah, not a lot.
It's not scientific. But when it comes down to the responses on X and things like that, you'll be very surprised to see a lot of people on the thread saying anyone who goes is a Zionist shill. This whole thing is designed to basically, make the far right look blah, blah, blah. It's always some sort of weird Zionist Israeli Jewish thing going on. But yeah, they think this is basically one of those like distraction false flag type events where it's meant to sort of turn into a really bad thing and blah, blah, blah. And this is going to be somehow like an excuse for more migration or whatever. I don't know. It's fucking dumb. So, of course, a huge driver for this xenophobic rage amongst the living is the cost of living. And directly underneath that is rent. Big deal. Look, man, rents are going up. I fucking know all about this.
Yeah.
I got kicked out of my last place for negotiating rent, which is weird. Now, you could blame greedy landlords like my last landlord, who literally gave me a notice to vacate because I negotiated a rent increase.
Tried to.
Well, yeah, that is the effective word, isn't it? Tried to. Fuck them. And you could also maybe blame greedy landlords for the housing crisis in that regard. Or you could just blame migrants. If you look at landlords, it's quite right. They have seen the gap in regulation. There is a lack of elasticity in the housing market because it costs so much fucking money to move and it sucks so much ass. And they've exploited it with rapid rent rises that you can't say no to. That's predatory market behavior 101. I mean, this is great. Or you can just blame random brown people living in houses, mostly 8 to a house. No, it's just anyway. So I do agree the supply and demand curve is strained. Vacancy rates aren't quite what they used to be, but this is not fucking it. For every rent rise, there is a landlord behind it, and a lot of those people have paid their mortgage off decades ago, and some of them just inherited the house anyway. So what do they need? Oh, it's what the market will bear, my friends. You guys like capitalism. But this doesn't fit their right-wing narrative. So they're angry at other renters. Okay, cool. Why? We can't be angry at companies that hoard land in land banking investment schemes for shareholders' returns, right? Can't do that. Because if we did that, we'd have to be angry at Pete, one of the many companies in Australia that have over 48,000 plots of land in a 2017 annual report.
One of the largest property development companies in Australia.
They are, and they're also one of the biggest land bankers.
It's PEET, folks. Yeah.
It is, just like Amanda Pete, the 90s heartthrob. So they're maximizing return for shareholders while everyone else is looking for a place to live. It's not great. That brings us to Ozpil, and you all know where this is going. The young Hugo Lennon, grandson of Tony Lennon, the former chairman of Pete. And if you want to look at who is causing the housing crisis, here's a hint. It's not migrants. It's Hugo's granddad. But look, don't worry. Hugo is a hero for the cause, a self-sacrificial man who has said this.
If sacrificing my family's business is the price I must pay to end white replacement in Australia, it's worth it.
Good on you, Hugo. Very noble of you, Hugo.
That doesn't sound like Nazis at all, does it?
No, but it'll be a real shame if you were to be written out of the will. But that's not going to happen, is it? You're just going to die a rich Nazi.
Well, the Pete company did issue a statement. Oh, yeah, you've got it in front of you, yes.
I do indeed. So, of course, it's just not Pete doing the hoarding of properties in the form of land banking. They also sell them. And the irony of this is often to aspirational migrants looking for their first home. So young Hugo is actually indirectly profiting from migrants too. Isn't that fun? What a world.
They put him through college.
Mm-hmm.
In response to the link, as I said before, a spokesperson for Pete said, creating inclusive, diverse communities where everyone belongs is a core value for Pete. Should be of Pete. Anyway, Pete does not share the views. Pete does not share the views expressed by this individual, and we do not condone his actions or commentary.
Good. Anyway, for more on Hugo Lennon, aka Ozpil, and what he gets up to on the weekend, look up the video Tom Tanuki did on him a while back because it is very, very funny. I think he's a furry or something. Anyway, you can find out on YouTube. The event has caused quite a rift in the freedom movement, especially considering a few prominent cookers are migrants themselves. Aww, they don't like you.
Ain't we all,
except
except for First Nations folk?
Well, that's an argument that doesn't go well in the comments section of these people. Fucking idiots. Scotty Mackay, the What's Doing Media guy, did a great write-up on this in Crikey, which is worth looking up.
Does good work. Really does good work.
Pretty easy.
So
there's meant to be a competing cooker rally in mid-September, and what's it about? I don't know. Probably as nebulous as this one. But it's being pushed by Joel Jamal and Tricky Tritty, who seem a little upset with this one. Tricky Tritty claims he was willing to help with the 31st rally until he found out it was run by racists. Now, the question from there is, did anyone actually ask him to help? And I would say probably not. But he's willing to.
Yeah.
He was
Rolled
willing
his sleeves
to.
up and everything.
Oh, good on him. I'm sure that event will be a complete mess, and hopefully it won't be as weird, violent, and pointless as this one, but I'm not holding out much hope.
No.
I mean, look, at least they're not backing this. But the real thing is, I think for them, they want to just drone endlessly about vaccines and the pandemic in a park. This is their favorite thing to do, has been since 2020. I say, go, have your picnic.
It's a
fun.
hobby. It's a hobby.
It is. It's a hobby. And you know what? I'm not here to tell you not to do that. That's great. Monica put her 2 cents in with a post distancing herself from the event that said this.
There are rumours, in parentheses, can't verify yet, that the organisers of the 31st August are closely associated with or are part of the National Socialist Network, in parentheses, self-professed Nazis. If this is true, I will delete all posts about the event and update you ASAP.
She didn't exactly delete all the posts about the event, as if she was ever going to do that. But she did continue her skepticism, saying this.
Reasons I'm sus about 31st August. 1. Not one person I know and respect in the freedom space is involved.
Mm-hmm.
Inverted commas there. 1, all capitalised.
Mm-hmm.
2, a person who has publicly claimed responsibility for coordinating events went viral 2 weeks ago for saying that violence is the only way to, in inverted commas, get our country back.
That's back freedom.
That's back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That same person has also openly sympathised with NSN, in parentheses, Nazis, in case we didn't know, and expressed several of their sentiments online. That's enough for me to stay far away. I'll make a video and update you in a few days. Well, I know she's a bit all over the shop, but I can't really knock her for that.
No, it's totally reasonable. I mean, look, if you want to have a fun exercise, go to Beck Freedom's Twitter and just search the term Jew and just see what comes up. It's good fun.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, it's not good. But then, of course, a bunch of cookers got upset with her for not uniting for the cause, and she posted a dopey mea culpa. Now, I just want to draw a parallel to this, and I love this. This is just like when doTERRA disendorsed Pete Evans, only to realize hours later that a shitload of those sketchy
Wait a minute.
MLM granola mums are actually Nazi sympathizers, and they are their bread and butter. And then they just reverse course. They're like, oh, sorry. Well, we didn't mean it. Actually, Nazis are fine. Don't worry. It's good. It's good. Never mind. It's all good. It's all good. Monica, I think, is quickly realizing a lot of her base are clearly past the point of asking the JQ and really have no problem with a lot of what's going on here.
So she posted, I'm sorry, with 3 exclamation marks. That
It's
means
a lot of
she's
sorry.
triply sorry.
She's real sorry.
My commentary about the 31st August event has been all over the place. I made a video and deleted it. I initially promoted it and deleted those posts too. It's such a tough situation. I'm torn. I support people's freedom of expression, as long as they're not talking about women's reproductive rights. But the event stinks and has caused the most division within the freedom family I've ever seen. That can't be a good sign. From a perspective, I stuffed up big time. The trolling and comments got the better of me on this occasion, which I'm embarrassed to admit. All I know is my gut is trying to tell me, if it stinks this bad and is causing this much division, it can't be a good thing. Now, if a friend called me and asked if they should go, I'd say, no way, stay away. And I need to stop flip-flopping and be straight with myself and you and not be a coward fearful of hateful comments. I've never claimed to know all the answers. And on this occasion, I've been a terrible person to look to for advice.
On all occasions.
Please forgive me. You're forgiven, Monica. I will reflect on this and try not to make the same mistakes again. Well done. Well said.
I don't actually know what that post said, to be honest, but yeah.
It's a fair amount of word salad in there, but I think the major thrust of it is fucked up a bit, not quite sure, all over the shop. Please, I'm sorry.
Yes, please go if you want to. You probably shouldn't, but it's okay. But I'm not sure, but okay.
I'm having 5 bob each way on this.
She really is. So she's taken the sort of tried and true approach since then, claiming the powers that be want to divide us, which is a good one. And it's
terrible.
not wrong. Well, you know, and the worst thing is, if you say that, half the people are like, oh, you mean the Jews? So she's also suggested that man is not the enemy. Not the man. Man is not the enemy. Do you know who the enemy is? It's the devil.
Satan.
Satan. It's Beelzebub.
Sometimes misspelt as Santa.
Yes, well, brings me presents, but they're mostly just used dildos, and I'm not sure why. And lumps of coal. It's very upsetting. Sorry, Matt Canterman. Working through man, sure, that's her theory. All up, we need to unite against the big man down south. Not like in Melbourne, like down real south.
Well, the big man down south is Beelzebub, yeah? Yeah. Oh, okay.
We need to fight the devil.
You got to fight him, yeah.
Which is kind of cool. I mean, it's ethereal. I don't really give a shit if the enemy's made up, so that's all right. So Rukshan Fernando, Senator Babbitt's Minister of Propaganda and master of diverting the camera to avoid bad optics. Oh, there's a fight. Oh, look, there's the wall.
Nazi.
He's such a cunt. At the various cooker rallies that no one cares about anymore, has been a vocal supporter of the rally, doing some incredible gymnastics to justify his position. And it is weird because despite being viciously attacked by the very same people who organize and attend these rallies, his cognitive dissonance is strong enough to make him think that attending this and supporting it is a good idea. Because overwhelmingly, we shouldn't have migrants like, my parents. But otherwise, we shouldn't have them because my parents, they're good. But everyone else is terrible. We should definitely pull the ladder up now.
But my parents were good.
Yeah.
I think it's actually he'd be his grandparents, wouldn't it?
Is it grandparents? He's second generation.
I think he's second generation.
Either way, it's the ladder.
It doesn't matter, of course.
It doesn't matter. It's fucking embarrassing that he'd be pulling up the ladder at all. Anyway, so look, it is actually genuinely sad to see a victory of extreme racism. The stuff that he cops online is insane. I've never experienced anything like that, not even close. And then just turning up to lend support to them. And these are people who genuinely seek to oppress him. Like, if that's not a masochistic kink, I just don't know what is. I now know what you get up to on the weekend, Rukshan. It is that. Because, dude, come on, stop. Just get new friends. My God. And Bob Catter, who is not technically a cooker but is insane, is backing the rally despite being well aware it's being run by horrible cunts, which he's been justifying recently, probably a cognitive dissonance thing as well. Oh, man, I've got to double down. And look, every now and then, there's good cooker take. And I do not want to give her any credit for this. But Aisha Goknu-Chanal, I hope I said that right, the opera singer who had that moment of edited fame on the Spotlight show on vaccines, posted this piss take rally poster, and Beck Freedom were really upset about it.
Australia, all in caps, it's time to rise. 31st August 2025 at 12 p.m. It's time for tits out for the boys. It's time to wear wife beaters. It's time to show ass and beer bellies. Get on the piss with us now. Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, Adelaide, Canberra. Our BS will erode everyone's rights. Fuck it. Bring your stubbies, bring your long necks, and bring your goon bags. No mid-strength shit. It's time to blame everyone first. It's a good line. Yeah, it's time to blame everyone first. Women's dress code, strictly bikinis and G-strings. If you cover up, you're un-Australian and can fuck off.
It's pretty good. The last bit's weird, but it's good. I mean, it's going to be winter. Like, girls will be wearing clothing. But anyway, the rest is great. And finally, the self-appointed scapegoat of this whole nightmare, Beck Freedom, is having a real prick of a week.
Yeah, she's had a shocker.
She took on the role as organizer for the Sydney rally, and she both has experience organizing rallies and also a highly inflated sense of self-confidence.
She sure does.
Unfortunately, her mouth is bigger than her brain, and she's managed to fuck this one up royally. Ooh, it might even cost her the rally and others. So she reached out to Ben Fordham and was interviewed on 2GB, where Fordham played back audio of her advocating for Cronulla riot-style violence at the event and continually insisted that people in Australia didn't know how bad we have it, in between being grilled on her comments. If people don't know how bad we have it here, maybe you have it wrong. Maybe you should reevaluate your position. Maybe everyone hasn't noticed because that's not the case.
Terrible. It's so terrible that you can't see it.
Exactly. It's so terrible. It's so terrible. You guys, if you knew how bad it was, you'd be so upset. You fucking idiot.
Look, I don't want to come over all classes on Beck here, but imagine what her life would be like if she wasn't the recipient of a fair amount of social welfare.
Oh, she'd be fucked. That is a single income household. I feel very sorry for Jesse. He'd be working very hard to keep that thing afloat. It's fucked up. But you know what? Fuck it. You know, if she wants to expand the horizon to the white race, well, you know, it's hard work. So look, when it comes down to it, all her beliefs are fucking stupid, and all this is backfiring in her face, and it couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Oh, this is really her lowest moment, in my view. Anyway, the following day on Fordham's show, thanks Sauce for the link. I had to listen to it just before we went to air. The acting New South Wales Police Commissioner spoke about the interview and concerns raised by it, calling Beck's comments incitement that will not be tolerated and will be investigated, and that her commentary may well be a criminal count of incitement. Oh, dear. Oh, see what happens when you run off at the mouth?
It's not good, is it? So Beck is pushing the event hard, and not only in Sydney but other cities as well. One post was for Canberra, which misspelled Regatta Point as Ragatta Point with an A, and she also posted this.
Couldn't think of anyone better than Matt to be taking on the Melbourne location for March for Australia. Yeah, that's Matt Treehey. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so, yeah.
We mentioned him before, the National Workers Alliance guy. Do we need parentheses?
Yeah. It's definitely not run by Nazis, though. It's not. We're just appointing Nazis to, you know, lead.
I note and thanks very much to Sauce again for providing a clip from Ben Fordham's show. But my sources tell me that the rally in Sydney, not elsewhere, but certainly in Sydney, is the petition or the application to march is now under review.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised for a second. Oof, would not want to be back.
What Fordo ran was actually not the worst of her remarks.
No, Rukshan Fernando actually had one of the more vicious ones.
Yeah, I saw that too. And I just think once the police have a damn good look, New South Wales Poll have a damn good look, I think she is going to have a problem.
If she was smart, she would have locked her Twitter, but she's not. And she said some real bad,
because she's so busy organising this. I mean, you know, she's looking at, look, Joel, you're a law talking guy, so you might be able to offer our listeners a little bit more advice. But incitement is a very difficult charge to prosecute, isn't it? Because you are talking about, I guess, something that's a bit esoteric.
It's easier to do in the pandemic.
Yes, you've got to actually prove intent, that you intend people to commit violence. I think that's right, isn't it?
I think it's commit crime, But
Crime,
the thing is, are people going to commit crimes that are indictable offences that are then processed, in this event? We don't really know. Whereas under the public health orders, they committed crimes basically just by being there. So it wasn't really a hard one to do.
I just turned a welfare off. But anyway, that's me.
We fired you, we sacked you, we dismissed you as what? As garbage, because that's all you are. You're a criminal, you're a traitor, and you're going to the biggest barbecue in history. So from Christmas dinner to you are the dinner.
Thank you. That's what I'll go with.
So many of our listeners will have already seen the Four Corners episode on Subsits. If you haven't, you should. And it is titled Lawfare, presented by journalist Mahmoud Fazal. And producer is Amy Donaldson.
Yeah, the show contained few exclusives, but one exclusive claimed was a media interview with per Sovsits, wearing the purple polo shirts of authority.
Very good Carlton reference.
And while the People's Jury's consigned, and actually filmed while the People's Jury's consigned Scott Morrison to 30 years imprisonment for crimes various, including genocide and some other made-up stuff. So you can't knock them for that.
No. 30 years is a good stint.
Did highlight the paradox that exists with Sovsits and their people's juries. How can they sentence people to jail when they don't own jails?
Well,
problem, right?
30 years living with Shazza. Fuck that. Ugh.
And look, this was actually accepted. This paradox was, I know. But
Yeah.
by one of the Purple Shirt Brigade who conceded he could not lock people up in his backyard.
Yeah.
Although I got a bit of a sense of a gleam in his eye that he started thinking, maybe if I dug a bit of a... Anyway.
Well, he should talk to Nathan Glover, the concrete entertainer, who has a vast amount of experience in this.
We haven't heard from him for a long time.
We have not. Old Nate Glover.
The other thing that same guy said was this, we would like firearms. We want our firearms either back or we just want firearms. And you look at him and go, I don't know that that's the right thing to do.
No, I don't think if we had firearms that you'd have them. I think you'd still not have them and we'd have them. Because you're going to be on a list, and you're going to be on a list that's very justified.
And look, I'm not being critical of Mahmood, but when you get across a sort of collection of Sovsits, I think the question to ask is, how did you get to this august meeting of Sovsits? By road?
Travelling.
With the second question being, who built that road? And how was the building of that road funded?
By travellers.
And then the third question, what fucking right do you have to drive on the roads and not pay taxes to the illegal government who built them, you fucking weirdos?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, I know Mahmood had to be non-confrontation with these people in order to avoid a long prison term without jail himself. And I'm not being critical of the show. It came across to me as a primer on Sovsits, but was bogged down to some extent in the never-ending battles over definitions.
Yeah.
Let me give you my 2 cents worth on that. These battles over nomenclature are junk. Call them Sovsits, call them scofflaws, call them whatever works for you, folks. Call them cunts who prefer to bludge their way through their lives, and when, unsurprisingly, life gives them a solid kick up the arse, they cosplay and LARP in artificial constructs which give them a sniff of power in order to make up for their wretched existences.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought the show ended on the right note with the focus on that horrible bitch Delaney. I can't think of her first name.
Helen
Delaney, thank you, yeah. Who, with her scofflaw mates, traumatising her own children, and they face threats of abduction while their father is bombarded with death threats. That's why I thought the show really ended well. Real harm in real time.
Yeah, real harm, yeah.
Well done, Mahmood, to end the study there. And if I might put my critic's hat on, a la the late, great David Stretton, I give the show 3.5 stars. With another half a star offered in sympathy for having to put up with this social vermin without breaking into uncontrollable laughter. Your thoughts, Joel?
He held a good straight face. I thought it was good. I had to watch
there
it in
were times when he looked completely perplexed by what they were saying.
Which is fair enough, because it wasn't something he's like, I would have liked to see the tinfoil tales girls being, put under the wing of background briefing to do like an 8-part expose on this. That'd be fucking incredible. But at the same time, we make do what we got, and it wasn't bad. I think,
it's a 50-minute show, isn't it? Around about 50 minutes?
45, 50-minute type thing. Yeah, there's not so much you can do with that. The Johnny Q stuff, I'm not going to mention that, because he is the kind of guy who'll just send us an annoying DM for no reason, and I don't want to deal with that. But at the same time, man,
he did harass the tinfoil tales girls, didn't he?
But did he graduate, or did he not? That's what I want to know, because they said one-time law student, where he seems to insist he graduated.
One-time law student can mean anything, Joe. I mean, could mean someone's just picked up a legal studies book. It could mean someone who was.
I think it means he enrolled as a student of law.
That's what I got from it. He'd enrolled and perhaps wasn't the most studious of students.
He said in a later video that the concerns notice that he sent to Tinfoil Tales, which resulted in them apologizing and retracting the part that comments on him in the episode, that was a precedent. It was a legal precedent that ABC should watch out for. And that is some of the most fucked legal commentary I've heard in my life. And I've heard some shit. I've watched Judge Judy before. This is fucking embarrassing.
Well, poor Mahmood had to step on the boat. And outlaid on a table there was Johnny Q's defences for his upcoming...
Oh, yeah. His paperwork.
For his paperwork and his upcoming trial for various traffic offences, driving uninsured, etc.
Yeah.
Unregistered, uninsured.
Very small battles.
All that sort of stuff. And he produced for Mahmood a copy of a declassified federal police document.
D-class.
And a magistrate would just be in awe of that, wouldn't he? Oh, my God.
It's secret shit.
I'm letting you off right now.
Or, because he's above the target, they'll, jail him.
So, as we got to the program, he's still awaiting sentence on that matter. But, it did not go all that well. I gathered from being in court, Mahmood was there. We weren't. But as Johnny Q walked out, he didn't look happy.
Yeah. But I agree with the Cooker take, which was that the editor focused in on the stovetop espresso maker, which was kind of dirty. Come on, what are you gonna do? Clean it every 5 minutes? You're on a fucking boat. Leave the guy alone. Okay, there's some coffee on the outside of his espresso maker. Fuck off.
Well, that was the thing.
That's at least his
before the program aired. We saw all these sort of cookers going. I just hope the ABC's got this right. They will tell our story.
Yeah.
And then when they watched the show, which was as even-handed, certainly more even-handed than I would ever be with these characters, and just, they just turned on the ABC and Mahmood and everyone involved in the program.
Yeah, they're easily inflamed.
For not painting these people as fighters for truth, justice, and the American way.
And if I recall, Jody Lowe, the guy who's behind the FUCCP things and all that sort of stuff, got really quite pissy. Did this whole I didn't even want to be asked post, and then started pissing on about the fact that Mahmood used to have criminal connections. And it's bro, no one asked you to be on this show. No one really knows who you are outside of just real core cooker circles.
This is it,
But calling it a hit piece and blah, blah,
he's
blah.
just had his ass handed to him by not being invited.
He just said at the end, I'm glad I didn't take part in this rubbish. And it's
that's too much.
No, you're not. No one asked you. No one gives a fuck. So, just embarrassing. There'll be a few of those people. I think Michael Gray Griffith was pissed off as well, but I don't know. There'll be lots of people who are just but.
What about me?
But
I
I'm
want
a
to be on
cooker.
telly too.
Yeah.
I want to be on telly.
Embarrassing. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, look, the one thing I thought was a bit of an omission, and I chatted to some of our listeners about this, was that, I mean, the greatest danger these people hold or carry is a danger to law enforcement. And now Wyambler was covered.
That was covered quite grimly, yeah.
Yeah, quite grim. A lot of footage or body cam footage shown from the police officers, two, of course, who died on duty, and a neighbour, of course, was shot dead too by the trains. But yeah, that, whether it's a traffic stop or entering the property, this is where the pointy end of sausage comes to police, and we should always respect that. It's a tough job that they do, and we've also made it very, very clear that events like Wyambler are avoidable, provided police at command level do their job.
Yeah, totally agree. It has been a huge week in Pete Evans, who released his much-anticipated book, The Primal Code, Bitcoin, Ancestral Diets, and Hodling Your Health. Well, he released on the 24th of May, but we've been fucking busy, all right? So, shut up. I'm tired.
Yeah, well, I didn't know about it on the 22nd of August as we record
I think
this.
we've covered it
This
already.
is news to me,
I'm
Joel.
pretty sure I've already covered it, but that's all right. You don't need to remember these things. You're not a real listener. So I would love to say that I've bought and read the book, but I haven't. I just haven't. And you know why? Well, there's 316 pages wide and the bargain price of $121.
A lot of pictures, though, I imagine.
There are, actually. If you shop around, that's $121. That's the bargain price. So I've got more than two reasons not to invest in this fine piece of modern literature. My time and my money. But you can get it for $10.99 on Kobo. I'm not doing that either. Join the Patreon.
Well, not least of all, because Kobo's not really good with highly illustrative books.
Oh, like I
It
give
doesn't
a
do
fuck.
it well.
Look, but the best part is, man, and I'll get to this in a bit, but it's racing up the charts. So
Great.
in the crossover category of non-fiction food and drink, okay, Paleo Pete has stormed his way up in Kobo to 11,125.
That's fantastic.
Not bad for $10. Now on Amazon, he's cracked the 16,554 ranking.
Not
which-
so good, but still, you know.
That's a few sales, and that's not bad for a book that cost $142.20. Down 6% on special
6%.
from 150.55.
That's a saving right there.
Yeah, you get $150 and you're like, oh, I can't afford it. Oh, if only I had 55 more cents.
I can afford 142.20, but not 150.55.
It's just craking the bank. What dumb fucking numbers. So, look, let's face it. Where there's a will, there's a way and a sample. And without giving Paleo Pete a dime or Satoshi, it's a Bitcoin thing, I have managed to get the good bits for free. And God, there's not much of it because the good bits are very sparing. As the book leads with his genius theories on how Bitcoin and food are like the same thing, man. That's only 30 pages, and the pages are fucking tiny. Like really tiny pages where it's mostly border. The other 300 odd pages are just recipes. I'm not fucking kidding.
Well, he's not a writer, is he? He's not known for his writing.
He's really fucking not. Sorry, Pete. We get recipes for free on the internet right now.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It's really not an issue. I ask AI, what can I do with 2 bits of pumpkin, some chicken mince, and a donkey? And it's like, well, you can butcher the donkey. It's great. Fuck, I'm sorry, I'm not paying for your book. Anyway, look, here's page 1, and this is for free, and I'm going to make you read it because it's bad.
This is going to be really horrible.
It is.
G'day, and thanks for joining me on this journey. Saying g'day only to his foreign followers, I would think there, and going, gee, he's really dinky-die Aussie.
He's dinky.
G'day, and thanks for joining me on this journey. Let's take a step back, way back, and what, German history? No, the alternate German history. And look at what's really going on here. I've spent years in kitchens around fires and digging into what makes us tick as humans. It's a really bad thing to say. It's just terrible. Just terribly phrased. What makes us tick as humans? What makes us tick as ticks?
Yeah.
Lately, I've been chewing on something else. Bitcoin. At first glance, it might seem like a stretch to tie a digital currency to the way we eat, think. Let's get a hyphen between eat and think. The way we eat, think, grass-fed ribeyes, liver, fat. But stick with me. There's a thread here, a primal pulse that runs through both. It's really all about freedom, about cutting through the noise and getting back to what works.
Wasn't that bad?
Jeez, that's a really
it was
in there,
horrible.
and he just hasn't pulled it off at all. Moving on. When I first stumbled into the world of ancestral eating, paleo, keto, as well as carnivore, it was like wanking. No, it was like waking up from a long sleep. I've been fed the line, like so much of the Western population, that grains, low-fat spreads, and sugar-laden cereals were the way to go. You know the drill, the food pyramid, the supermarket aisle stacked with boxes screaming, heart healthy. But it never sat right. My body told a different story, bloating, fatigue, a foggy head. Maybe that was the ketamine. So when my wife, Nick, finished reading a book titled Primal Body, Primal Mind, I decided to steal it and plagiarize. No. By the wonderful author Nora Jedgordis, and suggested I also read it. I went back to basics: meat, fat, veg, where it made so much common sense to me. It was like stripping away the layers of a bad recipe to find the good stuff underneath. Still haven't managed to pull that Bitcoin tie-in. But anyway.
Yeah, not quite. So look, I'm just going to say, since fucking when was activated almonds Pete Evans eating sugar-laden cereals?
He's on the Cocoa Pops. He loves his Fruit Loops.
He fucking doesn't. What a fucking bunch of horseshit. This genius needed Bitcoin to realize that Cocoa Pops aren't health food. I'm sorry. Fuck me. And like, honestly, like the writing style of this, there is not much behind those blue eyes.
It's terrible. It's really awful.
What I will say is that he married his wife, Nick, in 2016, right? So let's just say 2017 to be charitable. It's like a year in. She's reading a book, his wife, and he's trying to say that only like 8 years ago.
It's a journey, Joel. It's a journey.
He was eating Cocoa Pops. He fucking wasn't anyway.
He goes on to write, and writing being a rather tenuous term. Believe it's about sovereignty. Oh, he's gone self-sit. Over your plate and your wallet. When I started eating this way, I took back control. No more relying on the supermarket's latest fad or the doctor's script for pills. He used to walk up and down the aisles at Woolies every day.
Yeah,
Pete,
just looking for joy in his life,
and more Fruit Loops
in the river of sadness. Yeah, exactly. More cereal. I've tried them all.
No more relying on the supermarket's latest fad or the doctor's script for pills. I trusted my gut, literally.
Thanks.
What? Shame with
It is a shame.
Shame with Bitcoin. Shame on Bitcoin. Shame with Bitcoin. You don't need a bank to hold your hand or a government to bless your transactions. It's freedom.
Yep, that's right.
You hold the keys. You call the shots. It's raw, it's real, and it's yours for $150.55.
Yeah, he fucking loved writing. He was like, yeah, that's a fucking sick paragraph.
I mean, at least that's not AI. I mean, well, probably not.
I haven't run it through
because
a detector.
AI isn't that bad. I mean, it's terrible, but it's not as bad as that shit.
You'd think it'd clean it up, right? So instead of relying on the supermarket's latest fad, he's more relying on the latest dopey keto fad, which he's driven by polio. Or, of course, conversely, trying to cash in on it like the hypocrite that he is. The amount of projection here is insane. He has pushed so many fucking supermarket fads in his time, and now he's pissing on them. I'm sorry, but no. The only reason why he has stopped pushing supermarket fads is because you got fucking cancelled. Here's a guy whose recipes also cost more than most people can afford, and as it turns out, his book costs more than most people can afford. And yet, he's preaching about some sense of sovereignty.
Well, at least he's consistent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like elitism is consistent. I like it. And this whole idea of control over your plate and finances. Look, Bitcoin is considered a store of wealth. Its transactional value is fucked. It's cumbersome. It's a heavy polluter. It's expensive to use as a currency. And it has a massive learning curve if you want to do it properly. And if you don't, then you don't call the shots. You don't hold the keys. You hand a bunch of money over to an exchange that you hope never makes a fucking headline in a newspaper, because they do, like FTX and all the other fucking exchanges that have collapsed, Mt. Gox, etc., etc. And all you're doing is basically giving your money to a different kind of bank that's just run by tech bros and cunts.
So this is more of Pete here. Think about it like this. Our ancestors didn't have a Costco or a central bank. They hunted, they bartered, they thrived, they died at 20.
Yes, exactly.
No, he didn't write that. They didn't need a middleman to tell them how to live.
No.
They're too busy fucking dying. We've got the tools now to do the same. Bitcoin's the barter of the digital age, and a good grass-fed and finished state. The fuel of the past, present, and future. It's not about turning back the clock. It's about remembering what works and making it fit today. I'm sorry to steal your thunder, Joel, and you must go on.
Okay.
But the simple fact of this matter is that before 1850, the life expectancy of a human being, male, female, throw it all together, was 25.
Yeah.
After 1850, it started increasing.
It did.
It was still around 30. And it was only in the 20th century with modern medicines and, yes, the nutrition triangle that we now have life expectancies in the 70s and 80s. Anyway, something to think about. Off you go, Joel. Sorry to interrupt.
It is. Now, look, I don't need to labor the point here. Our ancestors didn't live very long. As we've discussed, it's just not really a thing. But also, this depends heavily on what he means with this nebulous term ancestors. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Also, there were plenty of middlemen telling people how to live. There was slavery, depending on how far you want to go back.
It was a big authoritarian time.
How far do you want to go back? Are we going to talk about coexist with dinosaurs? You fucking psycho.
Feudalism? I don't know. Slavery? Yeah,
it's just weird.
Yeah, it's this kind of sitcom view of cavemen. But go on.
It is. It's made up. It's just basically Craggy Face Pete has invented some abstract concept of ancestors that are paleo, and then attributed some sort of utopian values to them that he's just made up. And now he's pushing dogshit ideas in their shadow. And somehow he's managed to tie that to crypto, which is just for criminal transactions.
Well, he's tried to.
Diets.
I wouldn't say he's been able to pull it off just yet.
Well, look, there's 30 pages and we've only had a few paragraphs. But I tell you what, I'm not skipping a lot of value. I'm telling you that right fucking now. I picked these ones pretty carefully. They're the most meaningful paragraphs I could find. Now, look, I know that Pete loves a bit of infomortality. We all know that. But even an anti-vaxxer is stretching when it comes to yearning for the days of caveman life, where kids died young and so did adults. Now, where the fuck did he get this romantic notion of paleo life from? And I'm going to say maybe Bubba Yum Yum is a good place to start. Because that's how he killed the kids. Anyway, he didn't kill any kids, for the record. No. Bitcoin isn't a digital bartering system, you fucking moron. I'm going to assume you don't know what bartering is because you seem to know what Bitcoin is, because that statement is really fucking stupid. It's a terrible metaphor. You shouldn't have made it. Hope your readers are dumb enough to find that statement to be clever, and I'm pretty sure they are.
They probably will.
Yeah, they probably will.
He goes on, does Pete. Let's break it down. Ancestral diets, whether you're smashing a keto fat bomb or gnawing on a steak, are about listening to what our bodies were built for. We're talking millions of years of evolution. If you believe in evolution, in parentheses, just actually put that in. And if evolution isn't your thing, then think back to how our great-great-grandparents and their ancestors ate. We were hunters, gatherers, farmers, survivors. We were not sitting at a desk munching on things out of wrappers all day long. God forbid. The modern food system, it's centralized. Big companies churning out processed junk, governments telling you what's healthy, dietitians on morning news shows parroting the same tired lines that do not work, just like you used to, Pete.
Yeah, just like
it's a top-down mess, and it's made many of us soft, sick, and dependent.
Mm-hmm.
Some would even go so far as to say the modern health system is designed for a subscription-based medical model that once you are subscribed to it, it can be a short and miserable life sentence, like the life expectancy of the ancients, around about 25. There is a solution to this, I believe, which I will share later. What?
Yeah, and also
there is a solution to this, I believe, that which I will share later.
That goes so far a bit where you put the so in there.
Come over here, Pete, for a grammar slapping.
It wasn't go so far. It is actually go far. That's in the book. It's in the book. Some would even go far as to say.
Yeah, I know. I actually filled in the
no, you
go
filled
so
in the
far.
So. And I appreciate that because sometimes I fuck up with like getting this thing.
No, but this is a cut and paste exercise, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. And
but there is a solution to this, I believe, that which I will share later. Man, if someone served that up in year 10, you'd kick his ass.
I know. Like, this is not, it's just not good. It's not good.
At least it's not AI. We can guarantee that.
Almost certainly, because it would do a better job. So, okay, Pete, look, let's break it down. Or let's try to understand it, right?
Let's break it down.
So we are smashing a keto fat bomb, which I'm guessing we probably bought in a supermarket or a flashy supplement shop for like, what, $6, $7 for like 50 grams?
Oh, and the rest.
Oh, probably 25 grams. And that's how, somehow looking back to our hunter-gatherer ancestors, they were having keto fat bombs. They were cooking keto fat bombs by the fire and talking about like paleo trends. Were they cavemen or were they our great grandparents? Is there a difference? Do you have generations that span hundreds of years? What the fuck are you talking about? I can't. And look, unless you have infinite spare time, you are likely eating things that came from wrappers. And that's okay. I forgive you. And so does Pete. Because I dare to say this, Pete, I reckon you do too, you lying sack of shit. And even though you have infinite spare time to do otherwise, I reckon you still pop a keto fat bomb out of a fucking packet.
You'll be ripping into a few crunchies every now and then, I reckon.
Yeah, probably. Oh, no, they'd be keto crunchies. And to be fair, Violet Crumble do a protein bar with no sugar, and it's fucking amazing. I'm sure.
Too much information, Joel.
It's so cool. And they get them on half price at Coles. They come out of wrappers, though. I'm sure some would say the modern health system is designed to be a subscription-based system. I'm sure a lot of people say a lot of fucking things, Pete. You say a lot of things.
That's right.
Fuck me. And most of them are selling snake oil.
People say.
That's
the worst fucking expression you could ever put in a book.
It's so foxy. Yeah,
some folks say.
Oh, yeah. No, I've heard from sources. Yeah, definitely. So it'll be tiring being disattached from reality. If any of it mattered to him, he's rich as fuck and nothing really matters. The moment he has an actual problem, of course, like Mikey, Greg, Gropey, Griff, he's going to run straight to the hospital. And he'll say how nice everyone is, how lovely it is, and blah, blah, blah. But the real reason he recovered is the grass-fed salmon Nick smuggled him in, buried in a cookbook. They'd get past the armed security that's sent by Pfizer to make sure he's on a toast and jam diet for the duration of his stay, to make sure he gets addicted to fucking Wegovy, some sort of big pharma disease. It's so dumb. But this is only a few extracts from chapter 1. This segment's long enough. We're not going to keep going. But the rest is mostly droning on about how he believes Bitcoin works. He's not entirely wrong, but my God, it's so boring. We'll come back to this because there's still a couple of funny things in chapter 2. But the fact this book has 30 tiny pages on his genius theory about hodling your health for $150.
What the fuck is hodling, by the way?
It's HODL is like a misspell. They like to say it's an acronym for hold on for dear life.
Oh, it's not an acronym of anything. It's just, instead of holding, it's hodling.
It's like a typo, but people like to say it's hold on for dear life. But realistically, what it is, you buy Bitcoin and you never let it go. So when you hold on to it, because of the scarcity it's meant to, and it has accumulated in value, to be fair, but for no genuinely good reason. But of course, these fuckheads have to ascribe meaning to it, as opposed to the fact that graph goes up, and they probably should just sell it and do something meaningful with their lives. But hey, look, if you always want to pollute the earth with a pointless, antiquated blockchain protocol that shouldn't exist, yeah, go for your fucking lives. So look, this is 30 pages. I'm telling you, man, the absolute lack of intellectual depth is just wild, because the other 300 pages are just fucking recipes. I genuinely thought this was going to be like a PhD on the dumbest topic ever, which is the correlation between primal diets and decentralized cryptocurrency. I was kind of excited. If it was, I'd buy it. But this isn't a book. It's a blog post. It's not good. It's not smart. It's just bad. But it is very dumb. Who published
it, by the way? I've got to ask.
He published it. Evolve published it.
Okay.
Yeah, so him. Yeah, and no one's touching him. He's a fucking nutty. Anyway, but it's very dumb. It's kind of funny. And while this segment is on absolute life support, we have to say thanks to Pete for keeping you alive, because I tell you what, Pete. I went straight to Babbitt's Twitter and I'm like, oh man, this is just sad. And then I was like, hold on, didn't Pete write a book? Despite his best intentions, feeding it a diet that resulted in short lifespans and insane infant mortality rates, this segment still lives. Good work, Pete. Well done.
Outstanding work, Pete Evans, author. Again, congratulations. And you have been listening to the Conditional Release program with your host, Jack the Insider, Joel Hill.
Jack can find on Twitter at Jack the Insider, and Joel at Crunchy Moses with a K. Send it on our Facebook page. You can find fairly easily. And if you enjoyed the episode, please share it on social media, because that's what matters. Please share our shit, because
yes, please. We have a Patreon, as we said, at the front of the show to help keep this sustainable. For as little as $5 a month, you'll have access to all sorts of bonus content, including a premium episode. We try to make it worth your while. I had to hesitate there. Otherwise, the consumer, we would have been in serious breach of consumer law.
I completely agree with that.
But we do try to make it worth your while with some extra stuff. Finally, all feedback, tips, and death threats should be sent to the Conditional Release program at gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, even if it's to tell us that you're wearing the purple polo shirt of authority and we are under arrest.
30 years, no parole. Thanks,
Hard
listeners.
labor. Yeah, thanks, listeners. See ya.
See you guys.
I don't think I ever want to talk to any of those people.